welcome everyone to an Overcome Chronic Pain interview. I am here with Cheryl Enright and her puppy dog, Sandy. I met Cheryl about 3 weeks ago at a Bible study where Cheryl got up and shared her story with everybody, and I ran over afterwards and I'm like, can you please share your story with my audience? I think that it's really important that everybody hear your story. I just want to welcome you, Cheryl. So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about your backstory and where you are today?
I started having epilepsy seizures in 2004, and they got to the point where they were so strong and I was having so many that I wasn't able to work anymore. And I was being tested at the Toronto Western Hospital for where my seizures were because the medicine wasn't working. They were going to do brain surgery. And it turned out that my seizures were in my memory part of my brain, and I was having up to 6 to 8 seizures per week, and the medicine wasn't working at all. So I had brain surgery, and the first surgery went pretty good. I was in pain quite a bit after, but they told me that that was normal. So I went back to work. I was a grade 7 teacher at the time. And another year later, I had to have another surgery because I started developing seizures again, except this time it was 6 to 8 per day instead of per week. So I wasn't able to be in the classroom with the kids. It was a safety issue, and I was not healthy at the time. So I had a second surgery, and those surgeries were in 2009 and 2010. And basically after the surgery, I was in so much pain that all I could do was sleep all day and just get up and eat and go back to bed. My doctor sent me to a Botox doctor to help me with my pain in my head. So I've been getting Botox needles every 8 to 12 weeks for the last 15 years, and they have been helping me with being awake. They've been taking away the pain a little bit at a time, and now the pain is at the place where I can go 4 to 5 days without pain. And I'm thanking God for this because only He's able to do it. The Botox is helping, that's for sure, but only God has been able to change my life. In the last 4 to 6 months, I've been really improving. I can now read, which I haven't been able to read the whole time since my surgery. I haven't been able to read. Everything was blurry on the page, or it would go from one side to the other, big to small, and sentences would overlap, so I wasn't able to read. Well, now I'm able to read. In the last 3 months, I've been able to read. So I'm now able to read my daily devotions and read the Bible and learn more about God. I've been a Christian my whole life, and I've been going to the ladies group every week to be encouraged to keep going. And I'm learning so much more now from being able to read the Bible. It was different when I was a child reading the Bible compared to now as an adult who's gone through a lot of pain and just unbelievable things like not being able to read, not being able to cook, not being able to eat. I was in so much pain that now I'm able to read the Bible and I'm able to learn more about God every day. And I'm thanking God for His direction in my life. I am feeling like I'm starting to heal, and I'm so excited about it because every day I can wake up and I can take my dog for a walk. And my dog has been with me for a long time. This dog has been with me for 2.5 years, and she cuddles with me every day and makes sure that I'm okay.
It's amazing what our fur animals can do for us. Before we started the recording for this interview, Sandy, the dog, was at Cheryl's feet barking, barking, and barking. And normally this is her sleep time, Cheryl was saying, but wanted up on Cheryl's lap. And for some reason, and I had this experience with my dog that ended up living for 17.5 years and finally passing away when I believe I was fine. He was waiting for me to be fine before he could go. But they have this intuitive nature about them where they just come to us in our greatest times of need. And it's interesting, there's a correlation, Cheryl, between your evolution of recovery and having Sandy.
Yes, Sandy is with me all the time. Except when my husband gets home from work, she cuddles with him for about 20 minutes and then she's right back to me.
That's lovely. So you've gone through quite a progression. So thank you for sharing your story. You've gone from thriving as a grade 7 teacher, which is not an easy job. Grade 7 7 is like one difficult grades because I too was a school teacher. My last class was a grade 8 class right when I had my accident, and they're not easy. And going back to that, it was near impossible after I had my traumatic brain injury, falling down a flight of, the lights and the sensations. But I too, like you, was in bed 24 hours a day. I got up to eat, grabbed the quickest thing that I could, like an Ensure drink at that time, and I right back into bed because I was in so much discomfort. And so, how many years would you say that you were in that stage of lying in bed?
I've been in bed since my first surgery, and it's been about 15 years that I've been in bed up until just this summer that I've been able to get up and really start to do things. I'm able to walk only about 20 minutes, but it's still better than lying down all the time. And I've started a craft, and I've started a puzzle, and I don't like puzzles, but it's due to fill in some time. And I think it's helping me learn as well how to focus, because I've been in bed not doing anything. I've been listening to books, but I haven't been able to read until this summer. And so this is a time where I think I'm really starting to heal. And I think that God is showing me different things that I can do. I can cook now. I can eat with my husband, where before I would just eat whenever there was food. And like you, I would just pick the easiest thing to eat and go right back to bed. And it's been hard. I've been in a lot of pain. I've been on Botox every 8 to 12 weeks, and it's not Botox to make me look pretty and get rid of my wrinkles. Unfortunately, I get 35 needles in the skull, like in my hair space and on the back of my neck, and they really hurt, and your body fights them, but they are now helping me have a couple of days without pain in a row. And I just thank God for that. And my doctor who gives me the Botox, I told him at my last appointment that I was having 4 to 5 days in a row without any pain, and I was only taking my medicine in the morning, and I didn't need any medicine other than that. And he was all excited. He said, "Really?" And I said, "Yes." And he's like, "It's really coming along?" And I said, "Yes." He says, "It's been a long time for you." And I said, "Yes, it has been, but God is helping me." And he said, "Well, let's go then, and let's get your next set on the way."
Beautiful.
He was actually encouraged.
It's so fun when you've had a doctor or you've had doctor after doctor like I did. I'm not sure about you, just saying this is the way you're going to be. There's nothing that we can do for you.
Yeah.
And that's a horrible feeling to be told, don't know. To help you.
That's been my epilepsy doctor. I still take medicine so that I don't have any seizures, and I've stopped having seizures this year as well. I was still having up to 4 to 5 seizures a year, and it's not the big fall down and shake and pee your pants seizure. It's a zona where you start to stare into space and you can't answer a question or something, and it's like you're just staring and then your head is shaking and it's done. That's actually a seizure. And most people don't realize that if you have epilepsy, that's a seizure. And they all think, oh, you fall down and get embarrassed. No, that's not just the only kind of seizure there is. But other than that, my epilepsy doctor can only change my medicine. And we've done some reviews on that. And now that I'm on a different medicine, it seems to be working well. And I go see my epilepsy doctor every 6 months. And he's been working on my seizures, and they too have come. The appointment I just had, I haven't had a seizure since January, and that the doctor just said, "Well, I don't know what to do with you." And he made it as a joke. And it was like, well, I'm just so glad I'm here and you're not telling me I need to take more medicine. And it's just a wonderful visit.
Awesome. So I want to just take a step back to a compliment that you said about doing the puzzles, even though you don't like doing puzzles. You've started doing a few things. You're cooking again, reading again. There was one other thing that you said you were doing besides puzzles.
I have another craft that's making a rug carpet.
Yeah, rug carpet. So in my story, I went from lying on the couch or lying in my bed, staring at the ceiling because I couldn't watch TV, I couldn't read any noise, I couldn't listen to anything. I had earplugs in and eyeglasses on because any stimulation was horrible. It was like, scratching on a chalkboard. But the first thing I started doing was I started knitting. I actually wrote about this in my newsletter this week. Was the very first thing I started doing was knitting tiny little squares. That
Oh,
was,
yeah.
and so you get to a point where you're like, okay, I can do something. What can I do? And I loved hearing you talk about that. So do you remember that progression where you went from staring at the ceiling to go, what can I do?
Yes.
And taking action into that. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, it has come very slowly
Yeah.
for me to get better. I've come from, like you said, being in bed and in the dark and not being able to do anything other than lie there and sleep all day. I couldn't listen to music. I still can't listen to very much music. I listen to about half an hour a day when I'm going to bed. When I started feeling like I could start doing things, I felt like I needed to try to do something. I was getting so bored and so discouraged. And I just felt that it was time for me to try to do something. And so I would try to sit up and have dinner sitting up with my husband for half an hour. And then I would go back to bed after. And I started very slowly sitting up and doing things. Now I'm able to do little things. I can only take my dog for a 15-20 minute walk, and then I have to lie down again and have a nap. But it's coming. I've started trying to do things. About Christmas this year, I started trying to stay up for a couple of hours and just wake up and just listen to music or listen to my husband talk or just to try and stay awake. And I've been learning that even though I do stay up for a little while, I do need to rest again. And it's okay because I'm getting able to stay up stronger and I'm able to do other things like I'm able to do laundry. And when I put the laundry in the washing machine, I lie down and rest. And my dog cuddles with me and it's wonderful to be cuddled. But then when the washing machine is ready to go in the dryer, I'll put it in the dryer and I'll lie down again. And I'll do just one load a day, but it's been coming. I never used to be able to do laundry. And little things like that I try to do all the time. And it's really been the last year since Christmas that I've been coming and getting stronger. And I know that God is taking me on a slow healing, but I am starting to get better. And it's just encouraging that I can see something different almost every month. I feel like I'm getting a little bit stronger and I can do more things. Like now that my husband's back to work, he's a teacher as well. So he was off during the summer, so he cooked all day, all the time. Well, now that he's at work, it's my turn to cook. And I like cooking and I'm able to cook now. And before I wasn't able to cook. It tires me out, but I can cook and I can have dinner with him and talk to him for about an hour afterwards before I need to have a little rest. And the fact that my head isn't hurting is allowing me to be able to do those things. Where before when it was hurting, I didn't have the energy to make it hurt even more by doing things. So I'm just really encouraged that I'm able to do little things and do more and more.
I love that. And that is those small things. And we talk about this so much in our group. I talk about this so much with my clients, but these little things, they may seem silly. They
Yeah.
may seem non-monumental, may seem so small that it doesn't matter. But when you have been reduced to laying in a bed 24 hours a day, when you can knit a square, when you can do a bit of a hook rug, when you can do one load of laundry, it's amazing. It's an amazing feeling because for a long time, and in my own story and in a lot of my clients' stories, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I'd love to hear about your hope factor through these last 15 years. You've gone from being a teacher, like engaged in life, doing things to laying in bed for 15 years. There's first a loss of the old life.
Yeah, that was hard.
Yeah. Want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. I was very discouraged when I first lost my license because I had too many seizures. So I couldn't drive myself to work. I had to depend on other people to get me to work. And I have been a very I don't want to say I can't even think the word, I'm sorry. I was a very, not stunned person, but very interested in getting myself to work and doing things my way and always trying to go for perfection. And I was a very strong worker and that got taken away. And I found that very hard. I used to cry quite a bit because all I could do was lie in bed. And I went from being a grade 7 teacher and loving my job. I taught science and I did experiments with the kids and they all got excited about science and couldn't do anything anymore. It was very hard. And I would cry a lot and then it would hurt my head too much to cry. So I had to learn how to be upset without crying. And that was hard too. And I was very emotionally hurt and very discouraged. My mom would try to encourage me by saying, "Oh, your eyes look nice today." And it's kind of like, "Okay, Mom, thanks." But my eyes are the same. It was not encouraging. I found it very hard to just go day from day. There was times that I prayed that the Lord would take me home because I didn't think I could make it any further. And the Lord has kept me, and He has, obviously, because I'm alive every day, there's a reason for me to be alive. There's a song that I've been listening to. It's called "God Ain't Finished Yet." And it's a Christian song. And in it, she talks about if you wake up in the morning, God ain't finished yet. And I just heard it just in the last 6 months because I've been able to listen to the radio. It's a Christian movie, so I've been listening to a Christian radio station. Be encouraged. But even throughout all those 15 years, the only person that encouraged me the most was my husband, my dog, and God. Because if it wasn't for those three, I wouldn't have made it through on my own.
I can relate so much with this story, Cheryl. I say it to everybody I talk to that I wouldn't be here without my faith, without that sense of hope, and without that knowing inside of me that there's a reason why I'm here.
Yes.
There's a reason, because it's so easy to give up when it's day in and day out, and it's grueling, and there doesn't seem to be any change, and nothing's happening, and you think, okay, going to bed at night, and tomorrow's going to be different. Tomorrow I'm going to feel better, and you don't. And there's so much in that there's nothing that's encouraging us day in and day out. The doctors aren't encouraging us.
No.
My doctor leaned up against the wall and he's like, "Catherine, you're never going to get better. This is the way you're going to be the rest of your life. So go home, quit bothering me." And many people that I talk to, so many of my clients and people that I talk to day in and day out, that when we're told these things that there's nothing that can be done, it just chips away at our ability to hope for something better, something new. And the reason why I wanted to bring you on here today, Cheryl, is because you spent 15 years in bed and now you're here. You spoke in front of 100 women 3 weeks ago. You're doing laundry, you're cooking meals, you're having dinner with your husband, you're doing crafts, you're reading, you're engaging in life, and every day it's getting better and better and better. But you have learned how, and I talk about this a lot too, you've learned how to dance and partner with your body. Okay, I'm going to do this. How's my body feeling? Okay, I'm going to go rest now. And we become partners with our body instead of believing that our body is our enemy, believing that our body is against us, when actually our body is trying everything that it can to heal. We need to partner with it and listen.
Yes, very much so. It's definitely partnering with your body, because if you go too far and do too much, then I'm in bed for 3 days instead of just being in bed for 1 day in between.
And so it's learning. Your experience is different than my experience is different than everybody else's experience who's listening to this message right now. But we need to be unique in how we listen, because the needs of our body, your body, the needs of everybody else's body, they're unique. And the way that we partner with that, and that's why I talk so much about having your own tool belt, because you have your tool belt on you all the time, and you can draw those things that you need in the moment to take care of the symptoms and the issues that are showing up, or they become like monumental crazy issue that takes over for 3 days, right? And so there's a learning for you, Cheryl, because you've gone from lying in your bed to actually doing things, and we try something and we're like, oh, that was a little bit too much. Next time I'm not going to, right?
Yes. I learn that when I'm taking walks, and some days I can't do it. And just a lie down day, and I just lie down, and I'm fortunate my husband has been such a wonderful husband. He has really taken care of me, and God has given me him. Otherwise, I don't know what I would have been able to do. I just know that God has been with me the whole time. And even as though I would go to bed at night and say, "Please take me home. I can't do this anymore. I'm in too much pain." He would keep me getting up in the morning and and my husband would bring me breakfast into bed some days because I couldn't get up. And I'm just so pleased that God has taken me from that to now where I can get up and I can have breakfast. And I don't know what else to say other than only God has been able to do this, because there's no way I could do it on my own.
Thank you for sharing that. I have one more thing that I drew out of what you've said, and then we're going to kind of close off. So you were a perfectionist.
Yes.
I was a perfectionist. I had 4 children, and you would walk in my house at any point of the day. We were all washed and dressed beautifully. The floors were clean. There were no dishes in the sink. I was helping my, at then the time, husband run 4 companies. I was teaching full time, all 4 kids in competitive hockey, and I had it all done and doing. And I was proud of it, and I didn't let anybody help me. I was just on it all the time. And then all of a sudden that was ripped away from me. But so many people who have chronic pain, and it's been studied that the majority of people who have chronic pain are A-type personality people.
Oh, well, that's me. That's definitely me.
Yeah. So I find that an interesting statistic, but we are all in our perfectionism, and then things get ripped away from us and we don't know how to handle that adversity because we've always been able to handle everything through our lives. We've always been able to just make it and do it. And then all of a sudden we're stopped.
Yes, I grew up in sport. I played every sport there was. I was the only girl on a boys soccer team, and I had quit playing when I was too short and they were bigger and kicking, and I was a figure skater, and I won all the awards that I could in Ontario League. And I went to university as a single mom, and I did my university degree in 3 years instead of 4 in biochemistry. I went and did a master's degree in organic chemistry, and then I got married to my current husband and became a teacher. And everything for me was I have to do it perfectly. And now I've learned that being able to do it at all is a bonus. I'm not as a perfectionist that I used to be. I'm just, like I said, it's day by day, and whatever God leads me to do for that day, that's what I can do. And if it's nothing for that day, then that's a day of rest. And I just don't know where my future is going, but I know it's going somewhere. It's be different. I'm not going to be a teacher again. I had my memory part of my brain taken out. So we have 2 memories in our brains, but one of mine is no longer there. So I don't have memories of a lot of my life. And I had to relearn the alphabet after I had my second surgery. I couldn't say the alphabet. I kept making mistakes. So I've come a long way, but I don't know where my future is going to be. It's still one day at a time, and it's just counting on God to take me where I'm going to go.
Love that. And it's so true. It unfolds, with starting out knitting squares, and I started to volunteer at the food bank. And then I joined a chronic pain group. They asked me if I wanted to teach the chronic pain group. And here I am 9 years later, helping people overcome chronic pain and live a joyful life again online, have this, wrote a book, all of these things. And it just, that one step in front of another and one more step and the path to where we're being led to know without a doubt from my dream of wanting to be a sports doctor at 10 years old in grade 4, going through all of high school, all of university, and then becoming pregnant in my 4th year of university and not going to the New Jersey School of Sports Medicine to become a sports medicine doctor. I ended up being a teacher so I could be home with my kids, my 4 children. But here I am now in the life that I always wanted to live, helping people who want to get better, whose bodies aren't functioning the way that they want. I'm helping people find that again, and it's a better role. This is so much better than what I would have had if I had been the sports doctor. But the path that brought me here, I had to have that accident to be able to have this conversation today with you, Cheryl, and to be able to work with my clients and offer hope to people who have chronic pain again. So we don't know what the path or what the road is, but we take that next step. We're on our way to it. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Cheryl. I would love to know, what would you say to a person who is laying in bed right now?
I would say keep sleeping, and every morning when you get up, just like if you can play that song, you should include that song, because it talks about if you wake up in the morning, God is with you and his plan is not done with you. And that's what I would encourage is when you wake up in the morning, you've got another day to start to heal. And it takes it day by day. And the days can be long and the days can be hard to go through, but God is still giving you another day. And every day, no matter how much you hurt or how much you feel like you can't do anything, you can still do something. You can still open your eyes. You can still eat. You can still say hello to people. You can hug your dog like I hug my dog every day. And there is hope. And God puts that hope in you. And God won't leave you alone. All you have to do is ask for help. And he won't leave you. And that's, I think, the best thing I can say. Even though you feel like you're done, whenever you wake up, God's still with you.
Thank you so much, Cheryl. It's
Thank
been
you.
a pleasure chatting with you and just hearing your story and hearing how long it was that you were laying in your bed and how you are transitioning out of that slowly but surely, one step, one day at a time. It's very encouraging to hear that. And I'm hoping that this is resonating with a lot of our members that are listening here today. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So everyone, that is it for this message with Cheryl Enright and her puppy dog Sandy, who I think has finally fallen asleep on her lap.
Yeah, she has.
And if you want to have some more information, if you are looking for that glimmer of hope, if you are unsure as to how to take those small little steps, or if you even just want to chat with me, reach out to me. You can go to my website, www.catherinecortis.com, or you can go to Overcome Chronic Pain on Facebook and find me. And right now I have an amazing challenge, an amazing offer where I am offering 5 free sessions with me, one-on-one, just you and me, diving into the things that you are dealing with today for free. And so if that is something that you would like to take an opportunity and grab onto, reach me, catherinecortis.com, or Overcome Chronic Pain on Facebook, and we'll chat. So thank you again, Cheryl Enright, for showing up for yourself and being here to share your story with everybody else. And be well, everyone.